AskReddit by Swifter Wedget. Those who have an ex-best friend, what happened? She called me out on my bullshit and literally walked away. Years later, I can see that she was absolutely correct in her assessment. Applause for the self-awareness at least. She offered my husband a blowjob in my living room after I went to bed. When I confronted her on it, she didn't think I should be mad because it was just casual conversation and she would have only done it if I said it was okay. The fact that she waited until I went to bed and her husband went home to say it, definitely tells me she would have absolutely waited to get an okay from me if my husband had said, "Esther won't mind." How did your husband react? From the sounds of it, he refused. I spent years playing armchair therapist for this guy because he didn't trust actual therapists. When my mother passed away and I tried to vent my feelings back to him, he just said he didn't feel sorry for my mother because she died of lung cancer after smoking for years. I was done immediately. Oh man. My mom's best friend did that to her. They were friends for like 20 years. Friend's father died. My mother consoled her, cooked her dinner, drove her kids to school, helped clean her house. Then a few years later my grandmother died. So-called friends said get over it, that was it. I don't think she ever understood why my mom stopped talking to her. We had a falling out over a misunderstanding that neither of us wanted to apologize for. Spite is the world's greatest force. I got tired of always being the one who cared more and put in all the effort to maintain our friendship. Got tired of reaching out and getting ignored or getting turned down and I just stopped asking. Now she wants to make plans, but I don't count on her to follow through unless we have a date, time, and location. Plus, I started seeing all the little white lies she was telling, sometimes about why she couldn't meet up, sometimes other stuff. That it just became one more way I couldn't trust her. Friends since 6th grade, but that's life sometimes. Sadly, he got sick schizophrenia set in around 21-22. Went from the nicest guy in our friend group, the shirt off his back guy, to telling us he could control the songs on the radio. The Virgin Mary kept coming in his room trying to fuck him and Aerosmith stole all their songs from inside his brain. This was in the 90s. We were all so young. We tried to stay friends while he got treatment, but we just weren't emotionally developed enough to handle it. We saw him about 5-6 years later, invited him to hang out and play some games like we used to, but he just wasn't the same person. It's sad. My twin brother developed schizophrenia in 2021 too. He used to be a great guy, but now he's very hard to deal with because he acts crazy. He lost his friends from high school and he's homeless, but I still text him every day and I'll find him on the street and hang out with him. I've tried everything in the book to get him back on his feet but he refuses to take his medication, follow help, etc. I just do my best to visit him so he isn't lonely. He slept with my GF. Pretty straightforward. Sorry to hear that. Sexual assault. And he wonders why I stopped hanging out with him after that. Edit. For clarification, he assaulted me, not somebody else. Same here, it's been a few months now and I'm still having trouble processing it. MLM. That'll do it. I don't know. He completely ghosted me. Never came right out and said there was a problem. It hurts as much as a romantic breakup. I've lost multiple friends over the past few years very similarly. All I've known for 15+ years. Nobody would ever tell me what happened and it eventually made me feel a bit crazy, fully believing I have fucked up big somewhere, but not knowing what. Don't love it. Especially in COVID times, living alone. Oof, that sucked. He married my fiance while I was deployed. Fucking Jody. The guy I was dating was best friends with the guy she was dating. His best friend told him about how she was telling him about how she was actively trying to make me so miserable that I would kill myself before the end of senior year because she heard that students close to suicide victims would be given leeway in regards to graduation requirements while they are grieving, and I just really don't want to deal with the OCs. Fuck you, Sarah. What the actual fuck? Reads like a teen horror, this comment. CrossFit happened. I just stopped reaching out as the only reward was CrossFit talk. He wouldn't call me, presumably as I do not offer CrossFit talk or CrossFit activity. It's a cult. Not one you want to make fun of, because they can kick your ass, but still a cult. Once you start refusing to be bullied, made fun of, and generally pushed around, the person who was doing that to you in the first place won't like you standing up for yourself. I've been finding that quite a few people have been socialized through bullying, and I just have no patience for that shit. He turned into a hardcore G and I went to college. He's still in prison. I'm joining the Marines. You're going to college, like a faggot. Turns out the Marines wouldn't take him because his juvenile record was too lengthy and bad. Hell, he probably would have committed some horrible massacre had they taken him. He was a real piece of shit. If he's dead or in prison as we speak, I wouldn't be surprised. So I knew the guy for over 20 years. I'm very passionate when it comes to animals. Tending to them, caring for them, and have been trained to tend to them when they are sick. Use of syringes, meds, and fluids. Roughly a year ago I had this cat. We called her Mama. She was an old girl. She stopped eating and drinking. Age was getting to her and her time was coming. About a week before I could put her down, low on funds at the time, my ex-best friend said to just throw the cat out in the woods and be done with it or snap its fucking neck. This made me sick to my stomach. Now I rarely ever talk with him as I'm still friends with his brother. My wife's Bill said basically the same thing to her sister about their dog, in front of everyone. At Thanksgiving. He let me spend money on tickets, transport, accommodation for a trip together. He was supposed to pay back his half, then cancelled last minute for a stupid reason. His mother needed a babysitter for his younger brother because she wanted to go out with her friends and apparently couldn't ask any of the other available family members, and never paid me back, so I wasted a lot of money and had a trip alone since it was too short notice for anyone else to join me, but I at least had a great time and realized it was more fun on my own anyway and started regularly going far away trips alone. The cost of his tickets and everything turned into a worthwhile investment to find out something new about what you enjoy. She became very possessive and jealous whenever I made new friends or had plans without her. I felt like I was that friend. Because we would never hang out just the two of us, she always invited a guy friend. She didn't understand that sometimes I wanted to hang out without him, and she kinda got weird about it all. And I probably got weird, too. Turns out they were sleeping together but keeping it a secret because she was his direct supervisor. Our lives just went in different directions, and we lost the connection we once had. He started spreading rumors about me to other friends, and I couldn't trust him anymore. His wife only allows him to hang out with his fraternity brothers or her friends' husbands. He stood for that shit, so, bye. Imagine giving this the time. Nothing lasts forever. Me too. I still consider him my best friend. It's been 15 years since we've spoken. I know if I ever run into him, it'll be like no time at all. We had different political views that led to heated arguments and eventually resentment. She turned into a completely different person who was mean to everyone, all the time. I read some of these open-ended ones, and makes me think of a friend who fell off and out because of addiction. You never really know what someone is going through until you make it safe for them to tell you. Not saying this is you, just makes me sad I didn't speak up and ask him. Fucked both of my wives. Yes, 2 wives, 10 years apart. You stayed friends with him after the first one, WTF?